So today I'm going to show you how to draw a face from the profile point of view. First, you start out with a circle, and this circle is going to be a little bit more elongated than just a circle from like the front point of view, kind of ovalish, because if you notice, if you look at someone from a profile, the skull is longer sideways than it is straight on. Since you have that, kind of a squashed circle, then from whatever side you want the person to be facing, you draw a line coming down. Then you find about the midpoint of this circle and you draw a line coming down from there as well. And this will show you where the ear goes and where the jaw comes up. Okay, now you find the top and bottom point of this line and then find the mid point for the eye. And then you divide this section into thirds for the bottom of the nose and the bottom of the mouth. Once again, it doesn't have to be exact, but you know, as close as you can get it. And then you can bring a kind of vague jawline up for here to show where it'll go. So now you start with the actual details. I always start kind of right at the bridge of the nose, and it goes, that kind of indent goes right above the eye line. And then you can protrude out a little bit for the eyebrow bump, and then kind of go up and follow the circle up for the forehead. Now with the nose, everybody's nose is incredibly different, and so it's really hard to pinpoint exact rules for a nose, because a girl's nose will probably be smaller, a guy's nose could be bigger, noses could stick out way far, like just be really small. So I'm just going to kind of do a basic guy nose, I guess. And usually, even if it's like a really slender, I guess, little nose, there's still going to be this sort of a bump here, even if it's really slight, because that's where the bone meets the cartilage. So it's important to know kind of some of the anatomy of the skull while you're drawing. And now, so you'll notice right here, I have drawn this line and it touches this line I've brought down because that's kind of right where the bone and the skin is. However, down here, when you bring out the lips, you want to kind of step away from this line because the lips kind of come up off the skeleton underneath. And with the lips, before you like draw the lips and everything, it kind of looks like your silhouette's making a kissy face and it looks a little bit weird, but it won't stay that way, I promise. Okay, now that we have that, we can put in the eye. And so it's important to remember here we have the eye socket and the eyeball rests in there. And the most important thing to remember with this is that it curves. Because a lot of people, I've noticed, will draw an eye, they'll like draw it concave like that, or they're just like draw it straight up and down. But it does neither of those things, it curves out. So remember, it kind of curves out and down, and then the lids kind of sit over it like this, kind of a triangle shape. And then the eyebrow comes kind of right up to this edge on some people it's not quite up there. And then just kind of follows the brow bone. And then we have the lips. And they don't extend terribly far. If you'll remember from the front view, lips don't extend really past the iris of the eye. So if you want to draw a line down for that, you can. And then here we have the ear. Remember, the ear goes from about the eyebrow to the bottom of the nose. And oftentimes the ear will mimic the angle of the nose. So they're not straight up and down either, but they also have a curve. And you can just kind of put the ear on that middle line that you drew earlier. And bring the jaw down. Add a bit of a neck. And necks will definitely change between the guy or girl, like how much of an Adam's apple. If a person has like a double chin, the neck probably like comes right there, I don't know. Everything is totally subject to the person or character you're drawing, so it's really hard to give basic guidelines, and the neck comes out from off the back of the head. Okay, and now we can start kind of adding details. Or just making it look cleaner. And here, feel free to change any of your previous guidelines because they're just guidelines. You don't have to follow them. Honestly, the most helpful thing for drawing faces or really anything with the human body is knowing the anatomy underneath. It's so helpful. So if you ever have the chance, take an anatomy class, but obviously that is kind of a tough thing and a big commitment if you're like not in college or anything. So, I don't know, learn what you can, get a book or something. There's a ton of like anatomy for the artist books that are super good and it's just so helpful. Mostly just like the skeletal structure and some of the muscles. You don't have to like learn the names or anything, but obviously that won't hurt. It's amazingly helpful just for knowing where certain lines and shades and stuff go. Now we can add some hair if we want. If you're drawing like a starving person or something, you can add kind of lines to show where their cheekbone is. And that's basically the profile of a person. In a later video, I'll show kind of the difference between guys and girls' faces, because this is obviously a guy's face, but there are just some slight differences. Usually girls tend to be more softer, curved, softer features, and guys tend to be more angular, but that's about it. Thanks for watching, and check out my other videos.